Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, I wanted to actually go over an app that I made, at least at a very high level, and kind of share my experience because it was my first time making an app, specifically using Flutter. Now, I actually started making this app as part of a live stream that I did on this very YouTube channel. I streamed twice over the past month or so, where we kind of started making this app. And I kind of just wanted to show you where the app is at now, since I worked on it a ton off stream because it was a lot of fun. Let's start off. What is Flutter? So this is Flutter's website, and the idea for Flutter is that you can make an app or some kind of program, a UI interface type of app. But the best thing about Flutter is that it's supposed to work on anything. So it works on web, it works on iOS, and it works on Android, kind of natively, which is super awesome. So it kind of, you can write something once and it works everywhere, which is kind of what a lot of people would very much like to do, because if you build something natively, it's like, great, but now I have to build it 2 more times. So this is what Flutter does best. And Flutter actually doesn't use Python, but Flutter uses Dart, which is another programming language, which I'd never really encountered before, but it was a lot of fun testing it out. Why did I want to make an app in Flutter? Or why did I want to make an app at all? Well, I was going to a friend's party. Technically, it was called a diaper party. I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but basically it means my friend and his wife were having a baby and they needed a bunch of diapers because babies. So a bunch of guys kind of get together, bring a bunch of diapers and do whatever they want to do. In my case, play some video games and some board games. So I really wanted to introduce them all to this board game called Blood on the Clock Tower. And Blood on the Clock Tower is a social deception game where you have a good team and you have a bad team, and the good team is trying to figure out who the bad people are, and the bad team is trying to eliminate all of the good people. You can kind of think of this like werewolf, but like supercharged, where everybody has their own ability. You can always continue talking. You're never really out of the game until the game is over. So I think it's like a way better version, probably the best social deception game that I've ever encountered. But one thing that's a little bit unique with it is that you actually need a person to run the game. They're called a storyteller. And the purpose of the storyteller is that they kind of know everything, and they are tracking the game and kind of giving information as needed. But they don't have a side, right? They don't care who wins. The ideal case for the storyteller is that they get the game to the very last day and see who wins, I guess. But you're not lying or anything like that. Well, you can, but we don't have to go into the depths of the game because it can be pretty complicated. But as a storyteller, the person running the game, you have something called a grimoire. And this is kind of an example of a grimoire. It's this box that the game actually comes in, and it's felt lined, and you have all these tokens that you can put in a circle to outline like who is who is which character, and all that kind of stuff. Basically helping you track the game, because again, it can be complicated. So this is honestly really, really awesome. And if you ever want to play Blood on the Clock Tower, I would highly recommend buying this, supporting the people who make the game, because it is really cool. But it's also a little cumbersome. It's a very big box to carry around. And considering I was just going there for an afternoon, I didn't really want to have to carry it around. So I wanted to be able to do this just on an iPad. Now, you might be questioning, well, if this is a popular game, isn't there already some kind of digital version of this? And yeah, you'd be right. There is a version, at least a couple of versions, at least. And this is one of the versions online, where basically it's trying to emulate what you see within the grimoire. And this is basically tracking each player, and it's very interactive. Honestly, it works extremely well. Free, online, great. But you need a computer to use this, not an iPad. And I know maybe I'm a stickler about using a tablet or something like that, but I find a tablet just has a much smaller form factor, so it allows you to kind of, talk to people a little bit more, keep a tablet close to your chest, all that kind of stuff. I thought it would just kind of maybe be nicer to use. And while you could use this with a tablet, there's a lot of little buttons that don't really work too well with a tablet. And like, how do you hover states are kind of annoying with tablets. So yeah, anyways, doesn't work super well with a tablet. So I set off to basically remake this in a tablet using Flutter, which I had never done before. And I wanted to do it all in 2 weeks. So we kind of started doing that with the stream. And this is kind of where we were at after the first stream. We open the route. We're still referencing this. This is still like how it was before. But if we do test, right, we're happy with that. And then we go back and we refresh this. I feel like it's not persisting. Why? We were confused. After the first stream, we were confused, but we had something running, right? This is very simple. This is just copy and pasted code from their website, from the Flutter website. This is all using Dart. But we basically, a lot of this stream was downloading things to actually get Flutter like running on our computer, downloading like the Android stuff so that we could run an Android emulator on our computer. But, we were making some slight progress. Something was opening. And, well, by the end of the second stream, we were doing a lot better. Here we were for the night. Let's go A, B, oh my goodness, B, C, D. Yeah. Okay, things loaded. That seems promising. Delete. Did not. Oh, right. I commented it out. Okay. I was like, what the hell is going on? Why did this not work? Hot reloading. Did hot reload actually reload? It did. And as you can see, we we got a little bit closer, right? We had like, this is what we had for the iPad, where we have, these circles that are supposed to eventually represent people. And they were, kind of being in a circle depending on how far or how many people there were, right? Like in this case, we had 4. You can notice that when we went down to 3, when we went down to reloading. 3 here, reload actually reload. There you go. It kind of maintains a circle, right? So that was something that I wasn't sure you could even do with Flutter, but turns out you can. So that was pretty cool. So we're still a long ways away from this, but it was a start. So where are we now? Because that was the first couple of streams, but well, as I said, I really enjoyed working on this, and it was fun learning and playing with Flutter. And well, this is where we are now. So let's go ahead and run this here. And this is what our app looks like. Ta-da! So it looks pretty good. We have basically everything we could possibly want for this game already in the app. So if we kind of compare it a little bit to what we have here. So, I don't know why I have 2 of these open, but anyways, this is pretty close, right? The background is my own background that I just generated through some AI because I'm not an artist. And, I'm not selling this or anything like that, so I'm fine with that. But, we can add people to this. I have this menu, which I totally just copied from online to be able to have that fancy thing animate because I'm not an animation person. We have you can go to sleep in the game. You can wake up in the game. You can nominate people in the game. There's state that's persisted. Like if we kill this app and then we reopen it again, everything is still there. So, if the app crashed and you had to restart it and reopen the app, you wouldn't kind of lose everything. You're able to drag these and drop these things, and all of that state is again persisted. You can kind of, there's so many things I added to this game to this app, because I continually was just like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? Wouldn't it be cool if you could do that? it makes a QR code so that people can see which characters are in the game. There's like history that we track for voting. There's the people who are in the game. There's the order of people who interact within the game. I added a bunch of stuff to this. If somebody dies, you can click on them. It tracks all of that as well. And then if they've used their ghost vote in the game, then this number goes down as well. I even added some pretty cool stuff in here where if you go here, this is the number of players in the game, or based off of the number of players in the game, these are the characters they could play, but there's these different versions that you can pick. So like Bad Moon Rising is one, Sects and Violets, which is a pretty hilarious name, Laissez Unfair, which is for a smaller group of people, but I even made it so you could import scripts where you could add them from online using JSON, or you can see I have an error there, but whatever, not a big deal. From like a URL, from just JSON itself, and then name the script. And once you've done that, you can basically just, once it's been pasted, you can go ahead and click this and it will parse it for you, and then make a new version of that script so it'll show up here, or you can create one manually. Test. This is a pretty terrible script, but there it is. There's a single person. But anyways, this was kind of what I wanted to be able to make, right? Something I could do purely from an iPad and kind of replicate this experience, but on an iPad. So why am I telling you all this? It's not just so I can brag about some app that I made, because do I think it's cool? Yeah, of course. Am I proud of it? Of course I'm proud of it. But it's not changing the world or anything, right? But I think that's the one thing that you need to remember, is that it doesn't have to change the world, right? Making an app or solving a problem that you have just because you want to and just because you can, that's enough of a reason to do it, right? Why not? Why not spend a couple of weeks kind of playing around and making this thing just because you thought it would be cool? Right? I think that's where a lot of things kind of end up starting, and that's where a lot of people tend to get stuck. So if you have an idea for a project, and you needed some kind of sign to kind of get started, let this be your sign. Just do it. Just try. Make it. Start making it at least. Try and learn a bit. It doesn't have to be great, right? Like you saw my first version of this. It wasn't even in an iPad. It was just like I had no idea how any of this worked. But over the next couple of weeks, I kept trying and failing a ton until I got all of it to work. So hopefully this video can be a little bit of a representation of, keep trying, because eventually you'll succeed. And when you do, it feels great. So I think that's all for this video. If you want me to kind of go over Flutter, I can make like a whole Flutter tutorial at this point, because I've learned a lot from playing around with it. If you want something like that, please drop a comment down below and I'd be happy to do something. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. And yeah, until then, remember, I'm Jake, you're awesome. And this has been Flutter. Well, this has been my app in Flutter. Cheers.